All right, are we starting with the tour first? Okay, perfect. All right, guys, hello everyone. My name is Phoenix. I will be your guys' tour guide today. Sadly, it's not done in person, so we're going to be doing it online. So I will share my screen and present it over Google Earth, and that is how I will showing you guys our campus. A little bit about me before we get started. As I said, my name is Phoenix. I'm a senior here at Eastern Washington. I'm also a student athlete on the cross country and track teams as well. I'm studying exercise science, specializing in athletic training, while also receiving 2 minors, one in communications and the other in drug addiction counseling and prevention services. I do have one on-campus job being a tour guide, and then I do have another local job here in Cheney. So busy. Any questions you guys have about that, I can answer them for you. But as we go ahead and get started with the tour, like I said, I'm going to share my screen. So I will go ahead and get that set up. All right. And you guys can see that all right? Perfect. Okay. So as you see these little red pins are the stops we're going to be visiting today. I'm not going to be presenting you guys the whole campus, just a little bit of the special highlights that we have to offer. So as we go ahead and get started with our first stop here in Showalter Hall, which is a pretty significant area of our campus. But before I talk about the building itself, I will also present photos to go along with each stop. So that is Showalter Hall. And beginning with our first photo here is just an overshot view of our campus. Here's our football field, the soccer fields and tennis courts are over here. And then we have residence halls here, and then center of campus, and then the rest of Cheney land surrounding. So our campus is 300 acres big, but that does account for our National Wildlife Refuge, which is called Turnbull. It's about 10 miles outside of Cheney. It's just a place for nature, wildlife to be untouched, to be reserved, do its thing. But it's also a great resource for our science students as well to get hands-on learning for labs, experiments that they're doing. And myself and the cross-country team actually come here and practice a lot, but I do have a lot of friends and know other students that actually will come to Turnbull just to get outside, go on a nature walk, do things like that. So that's pretty cool. Now, you probably noticed when I went down into Street View, Showalter was all green and sunny. This photo is super snowy. As we were talking about before we started, Cheney does get all 4 seasons, so there's a little bit of everything for everyone. There's a lot of important departments that are located here in Showalter Hall. The first one is student employment. So the way I got my job as an on-campus tour guide is Eastern has this online platform called Handshake, which is where you can upload your resume and cover letter to a profile online, and then any employer can view your profile, and that is how a lot of students get jobs here on campus. Student employment is a great way to get easy jobs on campus because I know a lot of times it's hard to find a job, especially with class schedules and all that stuff. But student employment on campus is actually really compromising with classes and academics. So that is why I would definitely recommend finding an on-campus job before you find one kind of off-campus. The next department that is located here in Showalter Hall is Office of Community Engagements, which is where you can go if you're interested in any volunteer opportunities, ways of giving back to Cheney, to campus, the university, anything like that. It's a great way to build experience and just create more on your resume. And then a lot of professors actually offer extra credit for attending the Office of Community Engagement as well. Our president's office, our president is David May. It's also located here in Showalter Hall as well. The biggest program that is in Showalter Hall is our food pantries. So in different spots around Eastern's campus are food pantries, which is where students can go if they are in need of any food items. There is no shame in taking from the food pantries. I've taken from them plenty of times. It's just a way to support one another, help each other out, just because we understand things do get a little bit stressful sometimes. But not only do they have food, they have feminine products. A coworker of mine actually received like Kylie Jenner makeup, things like that. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone. Here is an auditorium here in Showalter Hall. This is not used for classes. We only have 6 auditoriums around campus that hold over 100 students, which are used for lectures. This is not one of them. This, however, is mainly used for student life events. So there's been a lot of movie nights here, magician shows, comedy shows, different things like that to bring students together and do something outside of academics all the time. So the reason why I mentioned Showalter is such a significant area of our campus is because down the pathway towards Showalter are these Herculean pillars here, which hold a tradition here at Eastern that we do every year, which is Every freshman, transfer student, incoming student will walk through the pillars with swoop the eag, and that basically symbolizes the becoming of an eagle, beginning your academic career here. And then the same thing applies when you guys are seniors. You guys will exit the pathway. That signifies the closing of your academic career, but once an eagle, always an eagle, and it's definitely an event you want to be a part of. All right, moving on to our second stop. Our second stop is multiple buildings, so I will just show the photos to keep it easy. So our first building here is Monroe Hall. Monroe Hall is home to your academic advisors. So every student here at Eastern will be paired with an academic advisor, and they are someone who keeps you accountable in your classes, signs you up for the right classes, and then just guides you on the right path towards your major. And then once you declare into your official major is when you will then switch from that academic advisor to one specifically in your major, obviously because they know more of the specifics that you're going to have to obtain later down your academics. But I would definitely recommend creating a relationship with your academic advisor because there is a lot of trust that has to go between the two of you. They are wanting you to be successful. I met with my advisor every Friday just to break down the week, discuss how it went, and then also talk about the upcoming week if there was any exams that I was worried about, if I was struggling a little bit. They're also a great way to provide resources for students as well. So whenever I was struggling a little bit, I would talk to my advisor and they would be like, oh, well, there's tutoring sessions here, there's office hours there. So that is why I would definitely recommend creating a relationship because they definitely have a lot of resources to offer. A few of the departments that are located here in Monroe Hall are Gender, Women, and Sexuality Studies, Chicano X and Africana Studies, which all do offer a major and a minor if you're interested. On the first floor of Monroe Hall here is where you would take a math placement exam. So here at Eastern, we do require our students to take a math course. So just to figure out what math course you would best be placed in is when you would take a math placement exam. Moving on, this is Patterson Hall. Patterson Hall is one of our newest academic buildings here at Eastern. There are a ton of departments located in this building, but just to name a few of them, we have English, History, Criminal Justice, Sociology, anything like that. There's tons more. A lot of students, this is the building everyone wants to have a class in, and I can promise you every student will have at least one class in here because there's always just a wide rotation of courses going through this building. Our average class size here at Eastern is about 25, so our student to faculty ratio is 22:1, which is a perfect opportunity for students to create a relationship with their professors and their professors actually getting to know your names. So when it comes down the line later in your academics, when you're going to need recommendation letters, asking your professors is a great way to receive those letters. So having small class sizes really allows that connection between the students and the professors to create a well-written recommendation letter. This is the inside of Patterson. This is the reason why everyone loves Patterson so much because it's very unique, it's very modern. This is where a lot of students actually bump into each other because we're too busy looking up at the ceiling that we just, kind of bump into each other. But like I said, this is the reason why everyone loves Patterson Hall so much. This is just another photo showcasing Patterson Hall. My favorite thing about Patterson is all the windows and natural lighting. It definitely makes it feel a little bit more welcoming and positive as you're going to class, which is my favorite part. This is another photo of the outside of Patterson. This is so you guys can notice this red emergency pole here. We do have a few of them around campus, so if you're ever in an emergency or if you have any concerns, you can go ahead and press that button. And within minutes, Cheney Police Campus Security will be there to assist you in any of your needs. My favorite thing about them is that they do actually try to create a relationship with the student life here. So when I lived on campus my first few years, I actually would play Uno and card games with a few of the cops and security guards every Thursday. And they do host different events like Coffee with Cops. They do self-defense classes, anything like that to create a relationship with the students here, because if there ever was an emergency, you wouldn't hesitate to call them. This is Jfk Hall. Jfk Hall is home to your Eagle cards. So basically in high school, you guys have your student ASB cards. That same concept applies here at Eastern. You guys will come and take your photo, and then you will get your Eagle card. And that will be your life source here on campus. You will need it for everything, for the dining halls, to get into your residence halls, sporting events, printing, anything like that. You will need your Eagle card. So definitely keep it handy. And when you lose it, not if, because you will lose it at some point, I promise, you can come back to Jfk and just go ahead and pick up another one. Now, if you're thinking of bringing a vehicle to campus, parking services is also located in here, and that is where you would go and register your vehicle as well as purchase a parking pass. We do have tons of different parking options available, so just depending on which one you choose, obviously prices may vary. Disability services is also located here in Jfk Hall, so if you guys have test anxiety, you guys have a service animal you need to register, or if you're on crutches or in a wheelchair, you can go ahead and talk to disability services, and they will help make compromises with you and your professors. So instead of you having that same conversation 4 or 5 different times to talk with each of your professors, you talk to disability services and they will handle the rest with your professors. So it's a great resource for our students. All right, moving on. Now this is our University Recreation Center. This is everyone's favorite part of campus because it has nothing to do with academics. So this is where all the fun stuff happens. So there are a lot of things located here in the URC. The first one being the fitness center. So every EW student does have access to the fitness center as it's already included in your tuition. There are 2 levels to the fitness center. The first one holds all of the weightlifting equipment, and then the second level here is what you see, all the cardio equipment, so the bikes, the treadmills, things like that. And then there's also an indoor track surrounding the fitness center, and then there's 2 basketball courts as well, which they do convert to volleyball courts sometimes, just to allow students to find that perfect activity that they love doing. Here at Eastern, we have a course called Fast Fitness, which is where students can actually receive academic credit for attending the gym. Students love it for the accountability factor of staying in shape, but it's also an easy 4.0 if you're interested. Now this is the Roost. The Roost is a pretty popular dining option here on campus. It did start as a Red Robin style diner, but now it's converting to more of a Denny's. The cool thing about the Roost is if you look across the way here, all those windows is actually the fitness center. So you can see the fitness center from the Roost. Here in the URC, we actually do have a rock climbing wall, so it's not like you're free climbing. There are instructors there if you're interested. We actually do have a rock climbing club as well. So if you're interested in doing some of those activities, a little bit more adventurous, we do have a program called Epic Adventures here at Eastern, which is basically the university taking students on low-cost field trips. They do understand that we are broke college kids, so that is why they make it so easy and affordable for students to attend these different events. I've done a few sunset and sunrise hikes. I paid $5 to cover the transportation fee, but I couldn't tell you where we went because I'm not from here. So, but it was a lot of fun, and it's just a great way to meet new people. They do tons of different events, either overnight, weekend trips, day trips, anything like that. So you can go biking, kayaking, hang out with dogs in the snow, tons of different events. Or if you're interested in still doing those activities, but kind of on your own time with your own friends, you can actually rent out the equipment. So you can rent out the bikes, you can rent out the kayaks. You probably can't rent out the dogs in the snow, but you can still go hang out with them at any point if you'd like. But like I said, it's just a great opportunity and event to meet new people, get outside of Cheney a little bit. Now our next stop, which is everyone's favorite part, is the ice rink. So ice skating is free and available to every EWU student. You just have to swipe out your Eagle card for a pair of skates. Now, however, if you're like me and hate ice skating because my balance is really, really bad, in the springtime, they do convert the ice rink to basketball courts. So like I said, they just really allow students to find that perfect fit of things that they love doing, different activities. There's usually a ton of different student life events that go on the ice too, like movie nights. There was a back to school party for freshmen, just different activities to bring students together as well. Now, because we do have an ice rink, we do have a hockey team here at Eastern. We do have 3 levels of athletics. The first one being Intramural Sports, which is where you play other EW students here on campus. So that's basically like you getting your group of friends, playing another group of friends in typical sports like basketball, soccer, volleyball, things like that. Our next level of athletics is club sports. So club is where you pay to play, and those sports do actually travel and compete against other universities as well. Now, the top level of athletics here at Eastern is NCAA Division I recruitment sports, which are sports like football, basketball, cross country and track, soccer, volleyball, tennis, golf, and tons more. So there's definitely a little bit of everything for everyone to find that perfect fit. This is a photo of our Roost court basketball in our phase building. So Eastern's campus is kind of split in 2 ways, where all of the academics are on one side and all of the athletics are on the next. So the athletic side holds the football field, the basketball court here, the indoor track, the outdoor track, indoor swimming pool, tennis court, soccer fields, anything like that. Now, if you're like myself and taking any exercise science, physical education classes, you will take a lot of those courses also in the phase building as well. All right, moving on to the Pence Union building. So back in 2016 is when I visited Cheney for the first time, and I thought this building was the coolest thing ever. Just being on campus, a college campus, was so cool. That's what it looked like, and it was recently updated. So it looks like this now, even cooler. Again, the same idea as Patterson, those big windows, natural lighting. There are 3 levels to the Pence Union building, so lots of stuff packed in. On the first floor here, we have our Eagle store. Our Eagle store is where you can go and get anything with an eagle on it, and I mean anything. There's also a coffee shop here, which I heard do sell waffles. I still have yet to try them, but I heard they're pretty good if you're interested. The biggest perk, however, about the Eagle store is textbooks. So it's pretty easy and super convenient because all you have to do is log on to the Eagle store website, type in whatever classes you're taking for the quarter, and then it'll pair you with each book you need for each class. And then you just purchase them and pick them up a few days later. That is personally how I purchase my books because it is super convenient and very easy. Across from the Eagle store, this is what we call the NCR. It's basically just a big room for students to reserve, and there's a lot of student life events that go on here. So there's a lot of movie nights. I watched The Lion King here a few years ago, and then there was also a gentleman who brought a reptile exhibit. So if you're interested, there's tons of events that are always happening in the NCR. 2 of our dining options here are Panda and Global Cuisine. Moving on, this is on the 2nd floor. This is what we call the Union Market. This is the main source of dining here for our students. It is set up in 2 ways, one being a cafeteria style. So if you're ready for that grab and go already made meals, that is available. And then if you're interested in preparing more of your own meals, it is also set up as a grocery store. So you can actually purchase the individual ingredients and prep your own food as well. In the back of the 2nd floor, this is what we call Freshens. Freshens is just a healthier dining option here for our students. They offer acai bowls, power bowls, rice bowls, anything like that. On the side here is what we call the Commuters Lounge. A lot of our student population does commute from outside of Cheney, so because of that, our bus system is really important. Every EW student already has access to the bus system as it's already included in your tuition. So as you're getting on the bus, all you have to do is swipe your Eagle card and it'll take you anywhere around Cheney to Spokane. On these TVs here, that is where they have the buses scheduled. They do roll every 15 minutes, so it's perfect if you need to catch one in between classes, if you need to go grocery shopping, or if on the weekends you guys want to go to Spokane, which is about 20 minutes away, you can go walk around the mall, go see a movie, things like that. That's what my friends and I used to do, and it's really helpful, especially if a lot of you guys don't have cars when you come to college. On the 3rd floor of the Pence Union building is where all of the offices are located. So just to name a few of them, we have the Pride Center, the Multicultural Center, which offers students inclusion, people to talk to, something to be a part of. My favorite, however, is the Career Center. So because I am a senior and I have to start preparing for the real adulting world, which I am no way prepared for, I have been spending a lot of time in the Career Center because they do resume and cover letter updates. They do mock interviews. If you've never done an interview before, they will help improve your handshake if you're not confident in your handshake, different things like that. And they also help alumni too. So if you're an alumni and want to come back, they love to hear how students are doing post-college. Now, if you are interested in music, this is a sound and recording studio that is available to our students here. All students have to do is reserve it and they have access. It's perfect for our music students to do whatever they do. Here is a technology center, so we do have a lot of them around campus if you don't have your own computer or if you just need to hop on one in between classes. All right, moving on to our last stop here, which is the library. All right, this is a photo of the library looking out into what we call the campus mall. As you can tell, it's not an actual mall. So I remember coming here as a freshman and everyone would be like, oh, meet at the campus mall. And I'm like, where? Like, I don't know what that is. But there's usually just a ton of events that are happening here in the campus mall. So the first one is the first week of fall quarter. Every spot that you can see of campus is covered by different booths and venues, just promoting different clubs and organizations that Eastern has to offer here. It's pretty cool because even when I walk through campus, I see some that I didn't even know we had in the first place. And if we don't have a club or organization that you want or see at Eastern, all you need is you and 2 other friends and a faculty member to sign off, and then you can actually create your own club here. So this is just another photo from the campus mall looking back into the library. Here's where a lot of students actually take senior photos, so it's just a pretty significant area of our campus as well. There are 3 levels to the library. The main level is where all of the resources are located. So on the side here is where you would check out any items from the library, so any books, or if you take any anatomy classes like myself, you can actually check out a plastic bag of bones to get that hands-on physical learning, which is pretty cool. That was pretty neat. And here are printing stations. So here at Eastern, we are on a quarter system. So every quarter we are granted a $9 print credit. I've never had an issue running out of print credit. Printing is 5 cents a page. So if you do happen to run out, all you have to do is log into your Eagle account and just upload a few dollars there. There are a ton of different study options available in the library. My favorite are the whiteboard surface tables because you can actually write on the table, so that's pretty cool. There are a ton of just different study options like study closets, study cubicles, anything like that. Here in the JFK Library, we have this thing called I-zones, which is red, yellow, and green areas, green being open communication, yellow being intermediate one-on-one communication, and red being absolutely silent. That is just to allow students to find that perfect area for them to study. We know a lot of people study in different areas as well. So of course, that is just a great way for students to find that perfect fit. Here is the Multimedia Center. So this is where a lot of our art and design majors will spend most of their time. As you can tell, they do have nicer computers. So it is programmed with the better software that those departments usually use. I know a lot of students that actually come here and will print off posters or photos for their room. So if you're interested, that is available. In the back of the library here is where plus groups are located. So plus groups are tutoring sessions offered for almost every class here at Eastern. So I am in the chemistry series and I am taking chemistry right now. And my plus group tutor is actually a student who has already taken the chemistry courses. So it's pretty unique experience to be taught by someone who has already taken the classes because they know what you need to do to get a good grade. They've been through it already. So definitely attend plus groups, and because one, it's free. I know your parents are going to love it. So definitely attend plus groups. It's worth it. And the other resource that is located here in the library is called the Writer Center. The Writer Center is where you can go and have your essays looked at, or if you also need resume or cover letter updates, anything like that. A lot of professors actually offer extra credit for attending the Writer Center. So there's a ton of resources available for students to progress in their academics. All right, that was just a quick snippet of our campus here. So just to show you an overview, we kind of made a circle here. So we started here in Showalter and then walked around to Monroe and then the URC and back. So as you can tell, Eastern's campus is pretty small. Everything's very conveniently located, which is my favorite part. So now I guess I'll hand it over to whoever else, whatever else we're going to do after this for your guys' questions.
Hello, thanks, Phoenix. Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Lopez. I also go by Manny. I'm your admissions advisor for Eastern Washington University. I'm excited to be able to facilitate our student panel today. We have a few students, including Phoenix, who you just heard from today doing that wonderful tour, that are going to be here to share a little bit about their experiences. So they're going to introduce themselves, maybe for a second time, right? They're going to introduce themselves. They're going to talk a little bit about their experience at Eastern, what they're involved in, what they're studying, you know, kind of the ins and outs of their Eastern experience. And then we're going to open up the floor to you all to ask some questions, right? This is going to be that time to really get to know from the best source of knowledge that we think exists at Eastern, and that's our students. So you'll be able to ask them what their classes are like, dorm life, right? Why did they choose the majors that they chose, so on and so forth. So please don't be shy. Definitely, they're looking forward to your questions. And so I know that we have Danny, who's coming in right now, who's also going to be joining us. And then I believe we're going to have one more student who's going to be joining us here soon. She might be jumping on in a little bit. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to the students to be able to introduce themselves, and then we'll open it up for your questions.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, sweet. It didn't work for a while. But I'll start by introducing myself. My name's Daniela, but I usually go by Danny. So that's why I put it that way. But I've been here at EWU for 4 years, originally from White Salmon, Washington. Graduating this year, hopefully in the spring, with my major in social work with a double minor in psychology and Spanish. I'm also involved in Greek Life, and I've lived on campus before, and I'm a tour guide as well. So I work with Betty and Phoenix at the Visitor Center. So if you guys have any questions about that, please let me know.
Not sure if Betty's joining on yet. If not, Phoenix, if you want to go and maybe go into a little further detail about who you are and what you are doing at Eastern.
Yeah, perfect. So, like I said, I am a senior here and I'm studying exercise science athletic training. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with athletic training, but they are different from physical therapists in the way that they are usually the initial response to an injury. So they're the people that run out onto the field or the court. But Eastern, our athletic training program is actually one of the top in the state. So that is why one of the main reasons I actually chose Eastern. So if you guys are interested, our athletic training program is really good. But yeah, like I said, I'm also a student athlete on the cross country and track teams as well. So I have a lot of insider knowledge of handling, time management, student athlete life, things like that. But it looks like Betty's here now. So Betty can go ahead and introduce herself.
All right, thanks, Phoenix. Hi, guys. My name's Betty. Sorry, I had internet issues. But a little bit about me. So I'm a junior double majoring in biology pre-med and as well as Africana studies. And I'm minoring in political science. I play club soccer, intramural soccer. I'm part of a dance group here. I just started an internship here in Spokane. I have 2 on-campus jobs. And I'm also secretary for Eagle Ambassadors, which is a club that's really big on volunteer work. Other than that, I'm from a small town on the west side called Alaska, but I was actually born and raised basically in Mazatlan in Mexico. And now I'll hand it, I believe, to Manny.
Yeah, thanks. As you got to hear from our wonderful students, totally involved, right? It sometimes seems like students take on a lot more than they probably should be able to, but you can see that they're doing just great. We're really proud of all the work that they're able to do, and as well as being here to serve you in getting to know a little bit more about Eastern. So, like I said, I think we're gonna do it in 2 ways. Either as those of you there who are joining us from your screens, you can either unmute your mic to ask your questions. I feel like any of us would appreciate that since we're used to speaking to screens for most of the day. So if you want to let your voice be heard, that would be great to ask your question. It can be for all of our panelists, or it can be for individual ones as well. Or drop them in the chat and then I can read them to our panelists as well so that they can hear those questions. Either way, get those questions flowing and we'll be able to get all this information out to you.
What is the cross country program like at Eastern?
I just answered your question actually in the chat. We are Division 1, so you do have to be recruited by coaches here. Our coach is fairly new. This is his 3rd year coaching here for the cross country team and distance squad on the track team. We do usually consist of about 12 girls and 15 guys, or excuse me, other way around, 15 girls, 12 guys. But yeah, any more specific questions about the team?
That was good, thank you.
So if
What is
students
the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
if students don't get recruited for a sport team at the high school level, is there opportunities for them to try out?
So the way I did it too is you can usually reach out to coaches and say that you're interested in competing, and then they will usually, if they are interested in return, that is when the recruiting process happens. But if you are not necessarily recruited straight out of high school, that like I mentioned earlier in the tour, there are club sports, which is actually where you compete against other universities as well. So we do have a running club on that as well, that students can also compete in.
What times were you running in high school?
What times was I running in high school? Put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
So you obviously do cross country too. So my 5K is 18:36 and my mile is 5:06.
That's fast.
And my 2 mile, because you guys do 3200s in high school, I think that was like 10:50, I think. So yeah.
Ooh, that's cool.
How was the
a mile
STEM?
in about 19 minutes.
That's still good.
Go ahead, Richard.
How was the STEM program at this university?
Are you speaking specifically about any particular major, or were you wondering about like the set of programs?
Like robotics, mechatronics, hardware engineering, stuff like that.
I can speak a little bit about this if the students don't mind. So we are one of the only schools in the state that have automation and robotics program. So we do have classes, particularly for our engineering students, to work on robotics. We have our own robotics club as well. We don't have a standalone major in robotics or I think you said mechatronics, but we do have robotics classes as a part of our engineering programs. The really cool thing is that we are having a lot of students that are utilizing that for undergraduate research. And a lot of them are doing a lot of classroom projects with the industrial robotics that we have on our campus. And so tons of opportunities for students at the undergraduate level that at a lot of other institutions you're not seeing until you're getting into those master's or upper division level courses.
So how do you become part of like that robotics program? Is it just like what part of the major or an add-on, or is it just something that you can enroll in no matter what you're doing there, or how's that work?
Yeah, it's part of the engineering program. So you would want to be taking those engineering courses in particular. I saw that Betty also dropped the link for the C-STEM page, or I believe it was Betty that dropped the link in for the C-STEM. Oh, it was Phoenix. Thank you, Phoenix. I just saw the link come up, but you can check out the different programs that offer them. Another recommendation I would make is that if you check out EWU catalog on Google, it also brings up our catalog website, which breaks down the classes in very specific terms. So if you go in there, go to the College of C-STEM, you can see which particular programs in engineering will have those connections for the robotics classes as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, as far as the robotics club, that one you can join without being in the engineering program. So you can be a music major and be in robotics club and still get to work and have all that access to the robotics that way. But in terms of the classes, you'll want to be in the engineering programs for sure.
So out of curiosity, that robotics club, is that just its own self-contained sort of thing, or is it with a program? Like I know at the high school level, it's like FIRST, or like I know there's also like VEX robotics or something like that, or Tetrix, that's the word. So is it with any program, or is it its individual?
It's like a separate club on our campus. It is, I think, particularly either participated in or led by those that are in the engineering programs that are already working with the robotics classes. But there is still opportunities for it to be like open to other students. So that's why it's kind of its own standalone at the same time. It's not like exclusive to those students in that program. But I would say it's like not necessarily tied, but definitely influenced by the work that the students and the professors in the engineering programs that already work with those robotics arms are participating in.
Perfect. Thank you. That answers the questions.
Great questions. Thanks. I apologize if anyone can hear my puppy crying in the background. She's in her kennel and she's not happy about it. So I apologize. That's a good question, Elizabeth. I have not heard about them competing. Actually, no, wait, I'm wrong. They have competed. They have hosted, actually, I think it was 3 years ago now, they hosted a battle robots competition on our campus with students from the states of Oregon, Idaho, Washington, and then even some students from Canada. I actually got to work that event once when I was on campus back in the day. And it was really cool because, yeah, students got to, it was kind of like, I might be making myself or might be aging myself a little bit here, but there used to be a show on TV called that was like Battle Robots. Miss Trish over there shaking her head because she knows what I'm talking about. They used to be like in this cage, used to have like drills and all this stuff on these robots, right? So that's kind of basically what these students were making. They were making these robots that were supposed to be able to do all these different things. So they do compete. I think in other years they've traveled to go do that. We also have a Rocketry Club on campus that's very popular and closely connected to the Robotics Club, and they do also, I think that one's more just for the social fun aspect of it. I'm not sure if they compete in anything, but they're launching rockets like essentially all the time, model rockets, and so that's really cool. But yeah, to answer your question, long story short, yes, they do compete on some levels. Great questions. Anything else?
I am sure more people have questions. Karina, do you want to ask them about their nursing program? She's like, no.
Like, I think you just did.
Well, can you guys tell me about your nursing program and your maybe other medical and health science programs?
Yeah. So for our nursing program, we don't have like example for medicine for pre-med, we don't have like a medicine type route. You have pre-med. So we have pre-nursing here. And it's basically where you take your prerequisites, so like your classes that you need to take in order to get into nursing school. So once you take all those classes, you can actually apply to go into nursing school. Cool thing about it is we have one right here in Spokane, and they have like a certain slot just for EW students, so you have a better chance of getting into that nursing program, which helps out a lot in the long run. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, am I gonna make it? Because you have a better chance with that one. For pre-health, like for me for pre-med, the cool thing about Eastern is it really does prep you for your examinations that you need to take in order to get into your program. So for pre-med, right now, all I'm doing is basically prepping for the MCAT by taking all these classes, because the MCAT, which is the exam you need to take to get into medical school, is literally just physics, chem, all those types of classes. So all the classes I'm taking is just prepping me for that exam so I can get into medical school. Same thing with pre-nursing. You're taking these classes to prep you for nursing school. So you take it, apply to go into nursing school, and then once you get in, you get to actually study nursing. And the cool thing about it too is one of my friend's roommates is actually in the nursing program, and he gets to help out here in the Cheney community. He works legit like 8 to 5 type slots, so that way you get a hands-on experience too.
So the nursing program, that's in conjunction with Wazoo, correct? And Gonzaga?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so do you enter that as a junior? So you take pre-nursing classes as a freshman and a sophomore to prep, and then you apply to that program as a junior and graduate in 4 years? Or is it an additional year or 2 years on that? Like, because usually a bachelor's of nursing science is a 4-year degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does it work that you apply into the nursing program?
It's like the first one that you said, if I'm not mistaken. You would be doing like your prerequisites and all the things that you need through pre-nursing at Eastern, and then once you get accepted into the program, you're finishing out within 2 years, give or take. Sometimes if students, because it's challenging classes,
Yeah,
if some students need to be there a little longer, or they stay for the summer even. I know that a lot of students that get into the nursing program, once they've moved to Spokane, right, they've also physically moved to Spokane, they're living there now. So then once they're there, they're probably also taking some summer courses that are available to them as well.
And you still graduate with your bachelor's of nursing science or bachelor's of science in nursing from Eastern, or do you graduate from Wazoo or another school?
From both.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have like the nursing degree that you earned from Eastern and Wazoo.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
What are the classes like it takes to become an athletic trainer? Because that's something I was also interested in too. So
Would you like to answer those, Phoenix? I'm not sure. Did we lose her? Oh, there she is. Did you hear Alana's question, Phoenix?
Sorry, my internet just cut out. I think all my roommates are coming back from work.
No worries. Alana had a great question about the classes that are required, or what classes you take wanting to go into athletic training.
So you have to take chemistry series. So Betty and I are grinding through that right now. We also have to take pre-calc because they just changed some of the requirements. So I now have to take physics, which I originally didn't have to. So in order for me to take physics, I have to take pre-calc and all of my math courses, which I didn't need originally. So I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. So you will need pre-calc, physics, and there is multiple kinesiology courses as well. So the kinesiology series is kind of split up in 3 parts. That was my favorite series by far. And then also biology and anatomy as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Say, it sounds like Alana has a very similar trajectory to you, Phoenix. She's interested in cross country. She's interested in athletic training. She's like, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, when she was talking, I was like, that's literally what I want to do. So
There you go. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Any other questions? Any other things our students can
I
help?
do have a question. So how's your guys' psychology and law enforcement sort of classes or division? Do you have any like behavioral analysis or something like that?
Great question. Any students want to take that one on? I can speak like very surface level about a couple of those. So psychology wise, it's actually a very popular program on our campus. It's one of our top 5 majors each year, just for the sheer number of students that get into the program that are interested. It's a very popular major. The number of ones that you just mentioned all kind of are housed in the College of Social Science, which is a very popular college on our campus because of the amount of work that the professors, faculty do to get students career ready with like undergraduate research, with internship opportunities. They have them working in their college, right? Like there's a lot of options for students in those particular fields. When it comes to law enforcement, a lot of students either look at it from a dual major of psychology, sociology with criminal justice, from what I've heard, a few students that have gone into law enforcement from Eastern. Just because they know they want to have both sides. They want the criminal justice side while also having the understanding of the mind or community side, right? So there's those options there. And then when it comes to behavioral analysis or that level of enforcement or criminology, so to speak, we don't specifically have a behavioral science one, but we do have our own forensic science program, which a lot of students are interested in. We're the only school in the state that offers that program, and we have our own crime lab on campus that students get to take advantage of and utilize for their work. Like we said, undergraduate research, whether it's working or finding positions to work in or shadow. That's another really popular program on our campus. That one I do know is very math and science heavy as well, which a lot of students that are initially interested in forensic science don't anticipate, but a lot of them sometimes move out of the program because they're not interested. But if you're smart, if you're wanting to take science and math classes, that's definitely a program of interest for you, then that's one I would recommend.
Just to add to what Manny said, I know our psychology program also, your last year or your last school year before you graduate, the psychology program also requires students to have a practicum, or in other words, an internship, where you get to choose where in Spokane or in Cheney you want to get placed. And then it's like a working job. So I'm not sure the psychology program, how many hours you're required to do. But for example, for the social work program, we're supposed to do 16 hours a week, like it kind of like a job, and you don't get paid, you get graded for that. But you also, that is like an opening and experience for you to do actual work that you'll do in your career. So for instance, I know you said like behavioral issues, like if you choose a practicum with that, you will get that practice in.
Perfect. Thank you.
I feel like y'all students at the high school level are a lot more advanced than what I feel like I was in high school. The questions you have, the career options that you're looking at, it's making me very excited to hear. As an admissions advisor, y'all are like the students we want to work with, because I mean, not to say that I don't like working with my undecided students either, because they're great too, but I think it makes it a whole lot easier when students come in with that know-how versus being like, well, I'm at square one, and I'm like, well, we're going to walk that square one all the way. But when you're at square 10, then I'm like, you can just text me or call me if you have a question. If not, I'm here and you have it all figured out. So it's cool to see that y'all are so prepared. And so, I wasn't lying. She'll make a little visit on the recording. Here's my puppy, Penny.
I love your dog.
She was like right next to my feet. She was like, are you going to show me or what? She's 7 months old, so she's still a puppy. Right, Penny? All right, you're gonna become YouTube famous. Set it down.
So do you guys have any questions, students, about like dorms or roommates or clubs or Greek life? Eastern has Greek life, not all schools do. Anything like that? What do you do for fun? What Cheney's like? How tiny is Cheney?
What's the Greek life program like?
So here at the university, we have different councils. So we have the Diversified Greek Council, which is all the multicultural sororities and fraternities. And then we have the Panhellenic Council, which is all the traditional ones. And then those are the sororities that have houses in the Cheney community. And then we have the Interfraternal Council, which is all fraternities, and as well some of them have houses. And the recruitment process varies throughout the councils. For instance, the Panhellenic Council only has one weekend where they do recruitment, and that's at the beginning of winter quarter. And that's when they usually recruit all the girls that are interested. And I'm not sure how their process works because I've never gone through it. But I know it's a bit different from the Diversified Greek Council, which is where I am. So I'm in Gamma Alpha Omega Sorority Incorporated, and the fraternities and sororities in the Diversified Greek Council to recruit, they do recruitment week every quarter. And then girls or boys just show their interest, and then you start the process to getting in within the sorority or fraternity. And then for the interfraternal, also they do it kind of like the Diversified Greek Council. They do weekly recruitments every quarter. And we offer so many, and it's not just like social life. We also have academic Greek life. So I know that focus just like in business wise. And honestly, I know a lot of people have like a bad aspect of like sororities and fraternities because of the movies. But really it's not. It definitely shows you a different world. At least for me personally, it's taught me how to be professional, how to write professional emails, how to dress business wise as well. Not only that, but they know that we're at the school because of education. So they put education before anything. So for example, my sorority, we do study tables when we were in person every week where we had 2 hours just to focus on homework. So definitely, and if we don't have the average grade that we're supposed to, then you're like inactive or not participating in any events until you get your grades up. So they definitely focus a lot in academics. I hope that answered your question.
That did, and gave me like a new perspective of sorority. So
In the dorms, does each room have their own bathroom, or is it one like communal bathroom? And like the washers and dryers, are those all communal too?
So we only have one resident hall where you can actually have your own bathroom. That is the resident hall I stayed in my freshman year. It's called Louise Anderson, and that is exactly the reason why my roommate and I decided on that resident hall in the first place, was to have our own bathroom in our room. But that is first come, first serve. So if that is your top priority in choosing a residence hall, definitely get on that pretty quick. Again, it's called Louise Anderson. LA, same thing. And then for laundry, every residence hall has a laundry room. They're all standard, basically the same. Just, 3-4 washers, 3-4 dryers. And every student, when they come to campus, get a laundry card. It's like a prepaid laundry card that you just swipe every time you go to do your laundry. So you don't actually have to pay for anything yourself.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, we got about 5 more minutes. Definitely want to keep time for you to have any more questions. So got time for maybe 2-3 more questions if anyone else still got any.
I know students in the past have asked what it's like to be a student of color on campus. I don't know if any of you can talk about that at all, but I will post this on our YouTube channel, and that's a question that comes up a lot.
I can go ahead and answer real quick. I know for me, coming from a Hispanic background, it was really hard to like transition and be like finding like my community where I feel comfortable. But definitely, I always recommend this: go out and explore. I attempted to stay in my residence halls, usually my freshman year, which was really bad. And then you went out and you see how many clubs and organizations there are for colored people, for multicultural as well. For instance, like I said, we have the Diversity Greek Council, which is all multicultural. Not only that, but now that the new Pence building, I'm pretty sure Phoenix talked about it, but we have the Multicultural Center where anybody can go in there and feel welcome. Chicano studies, they're super welcoming as well. So we definitely have a lot of options for people of color and for our multicultural cultures to feel welcome in our community.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. The other question that comes up a lot is, what kind of support do you have for students who are the first in their family to go to college? Do you have TRIO?
So I'll start with the bad news first, then go to the good news. Unfortunately, we don't have TRIO as a standalone program, but I think one of the cool things that I'm aware of TRIO and what supports it gives, that's kind of Eastern's MO. So we actually serve about close to 50% first generation population on our campus to that aspect, because we know that one, staff and faculty that make up our university are also first gen. I think there might be only one or two folks in my office specifically that aren't first generation themselves. So that's kind of the front line of it all. We understand and we come from it with a first generational college going experience as in college admissions advisors. But on that end too, we know how to serve those students. So when it comes to college navigation, when it comes to the creating of a community or finding your niche, like Danny was saying, like we're really big on that. We want students to feel like they're part of something, whether how big it is, how small it is, right? That they're finding their community, they're finding their people on Eastern's campus. And another cool thing about that is the gamut of things that first generation college students might have questions about. Where's the money coming from, right? How am I going to get supported from step one to graduation? All those different types of things that they're wanting to navigate and are learning for the first time. We're doing it with them every step of the way. So it's not something that we're coming at them with, you should already know this, but actually more, hey, like we know, having been in your position, you probably don't know about X, Y, and Z. So let's help you know that stuff now so that you're better prepared the farther along you are at Eastern. And you see it with students, like the first day they come in as students and they're very nervous, they're very like wondering what's going on, to like the students we have here in our panel that are just so well educated, they're ready and willing to like share tons of information about Eastern. It's just a small example of what that looks like campus wide, because the students really start to feel like it's their experience to be able to take hold of and move forward with, which I think is really cool. So you see a lot of students that maybe get out of their comfort zone, start participating in a lot more things, who are first gen themselves and who probably wouldn't have seen themselves in that position to begin with. But tons of resources, tons of support. It's kind of just what we do, what we embody for all our students and our campus in general. So definitely all your first generation college students, send them our way, because we would love to have them. We would love to have them feel a part of the Eastern community.
Is it hard being like far away from home for those of you who have moved?
Personally, for me, my first year, it was really, really hard. And even sometimes being my senior year, I get myself caught where it's still really difficult. But I always recommend this: call home. I know I got to the point where like I didn't even want to call home because I would just cry. Don't do that. It feels really good when you call home. If you my freshman year, I used to go home every weekend, which also wasn't really healthy because, like I said, this is a time for you to like experience to who you really are. So like I suggested, go out and find the people that you're comfortable with, a club, organization, find your friends, and create your home here at EWU or wherever you decide to go.
Thanks, Dani. Thanks, Alana, for that question as well. So we're at 11 o'clock. I don't want to shut it off. If anyone has any last minute pending questions, we can definitely ask those now. Kind of open it up for any last minute questions. Going once, going twice. All right. Yeah, but I just want to say thank you to our panelists for sharing their time today. Thank you, Phoenix, for the tour. It was a wonderful tour. And thank you to you students for participating in all your questions. It was great to be able to join up with you today and talk about Eastern.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate all of the students who showed up to answer these questions. I think it was really good information, and we will hopefully share this with even more students who did not make this with a recording. So I appreciate your time and effort.
Thank you for your time.
Have a good day.
Thanks, y'all. Take care.